Israel has accepted every proposal, and almost for the last year or so, every proposal that was laid down by the mediators. Israel has accepted the whole notion that was led by the United States, including with other parties, meaning the Qataris and the Egyptians. And then we were faced time and time again with either a refusal or endless procrastination by Hamas. For example, in the last few months, you're probably going to ask me also about the humanitarian situation, because the
as it happens, I am.
But I have to answer. Because of the Hamas's feeling that they had the upper hand publicly in their image war, they decided not to move on any proposal. Now, I can attest to the fact, because I'm exposed to intelligence all the time, that Khalil al-Khaya, whose hands are filled with the blood of thousands of Israelis on October 7th, who's the head of Hamas sitting in Qatar, he kept on refusing and or saying yes with a poison pill that looks like a slime, endless slime that doesn't end. We want a deal, and we want to finish the war, and we say we are ready to exit the war with a full hostage deal and a ceasefire. But for that, you need Hamas to say yes. And
okay,
wait, Brian,
I want to come on to some of the points that you're raising.
But you have to understand, if you want me to explain the situation for a change, because in England, I understand that there's a very strong one streak of thought. But I'm trying to present a different streak to a very decent nation that should listen to that streak. For example, Hamas has its decision-making process requires consent. All you need is one person to say no, and there's no deal. And if you want to move on, you have to remove some of the people if they are not willing to get to a deal. Israel is a very open-minded democracy. We will go to elections, the latest, next October. Our nation debates on every issue that you can imagine. We have demonstrators all over the country all the time. That's what democracies does. It is the legitimate right of our government, the way it was formed, to pursue its own ideology. Not necessarily one has to agree with it, but one has to understand that if you sanction Israeli elected officials in a free, open society and democracy that were fully approved also by our legal system, you're actually hurting Israeli democracy. And it's not the right thing to do. It looks like a simple excuse. You know the way it's perceived? It's perceived as if you don't agree with British opinion, with the government of Britain, then we will punish you with the declaration of a Palestinian state. Will that bring peace? No.
So
Unfortunately, no. And may I say, I truly believe in the fact that we should reach peace with the Palestinians. I've said it all my life. I believe in it still now. I believe that the regional developments are so vital that they can also bring with them the development with the Palestinians. But for that, you need to bring the hostages back home, and you need to create a different future for Gaza without Hamas. We were attacked by a jihadist organization who wants to eradicate us, and these fighters, they don't care dying, because they are jihadists. In jihad, you believe that you die, you go to heaven, and you served your purpose in killing Jews, and by the way, Christians as well. And we've gone in order to prevent the attacks on our people and get the hostages back. And when we go in, the terrain is full of ammunition and missiles in living rooms, and missiles in bedrooms, and missiles in shops and mosques and whatnot. And these missiles can be also long-range missiles, not only short-term missiles. Now, we have the full right under international law to defend ourselves. And what we are trying to do is to uproot those systems and enable a better future for Gaza. Any plan for the day after requires at the end that Hamas will not be able to take over Gaza again.
You haven't got rid of all of Hamas, and you have killed a lot of people in Gaza. How is that proportionate?
Because we are, first of all, we argue with a lot of the data, and we are willing, and I propose to Prime Minister Starmer also, for example, on the humanitarian aid, to send a fact-finding mission and get all the data. We have it all transparent and open. We supply it every day, and we can show the difference between what is reported and what is happening on the ground. Same goes for warfare. We abide strictly by the rules of international law and how it relates to warfare. But the issue is you have to judge the war according to the terrain of the war.
What is your view of these settlements? You've said in May this year, settlement is one of the cornerstones of Zionism and the Jewish story, and that on the West Bank it is a positive, wonderful and thriving project and Israel's defensive shield.
So I will say that because people translated the word hityashvut, that means from day one in the Zionist movement, every town and village in Israel was a settlement. I spoke about the whole notion of building a new village and a new town in Israel, and I respect that notion because that's from the early days of establishing our nation.
So I understand that.
I did not speak about boundaries, nor did I speak about any specific thing, and yet I must tell you that there are settlements and towns and villages in the West Bank that are a source of pride, and people are amazing, and we agreed way back that there are ways and means to reach an amicable agreement with the Palestinians, despite the fact that there are settlements. It's been discussed in the Camp David discussions already back in 2000.
What do you think the Israeli government should do now to stop the violence that is happening by settlers against Palestinians?
So we have a very strong legal system. There is investigations and adjudication and law enforcement apparatuses and courts. And the entire legal system is operating on it. We are not indifferent to it, that there could be such instances, but I would not, because of that, in any way generalize or categorize the citizens of Israel who live beyond the 67 boundaries.
Do you think Israel can take a step towards a two-state solution?
In the future, we should dream and try to realize amicable peace with our Palestinian neighbors. Absolutely. But for that, we have to deal with the fact that terror cannot reign in our land. I said it 3 months before October 7th. In a speech in the US Congress, I described how terror creates havoc and cannot be acceptable in any way. And I beg all my friends in the United Kingdom and all my friends in Australia and Canada and other places, they have to understand terror starts with us, but will never end with us. If we don't stand firmly against terror, it will hit and plague all our cities.